Really special outdoor stuff. Hello and welcome to the Wild Harvest.
Say a bit about yourself.
Okay, starting now.
Yeah.
Well, one of my big hobbies is the outdoors. Anything in the outdoors, whether it's motorbiking, hiking, swimming, boating. I love being out in nature, and I've always been fascinated with wild edible plants. And you know, there's so many different wild plants. There's some that are native to the area, and there's some plants that have been introduced that grow in the wilds. And I believe any of those are fair game for cooking with and, you know, making up new recipes and enjoying them. That's really what Wild Harvest is all about.
Hello, I'm one of the judges on Wild Harvest, and basically what I expect from Michael here is for him to make a dish that shows his understanding of the plants and just their background. Not just their taste, but their background.
Hi, I'm one of the food testers here on Wild Harvest. And what do I expect from the food? Well, I'm expecting not exactly perfection, but I want to see the flavors all come together and meld together properly, not just diluting them to make them edible. So I'm really going to be looking for that from Chef Michael today, and hopefully he can deliver. So because of the bad weather today, we're actually going to be doing a backyard edition. So we're going to be going into the backyard. Anybody can do this and just look around and see what wild edibles we can find and turn those edibles into a delicious meal.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, so do you want to continue?
Well, the plants we're gonna be finding today in the right hands can become a masterpiece.
And we're going to go head outside right now and go find them.
I've decided I'm going to do a little brainstorming while they're out there doing some picking.
So fast. We just found one of my favorite wild harvests. Mint. Wild mint.
Mint.
So this is one of the most common plants you can find in your yard, and it tastes amazing. So if you guys want to go and make this yourself, I would just go check your backyard, and you probably most likely have some there. Another common plant. Some lavender sprigs. They're slightly uncommon, but if you have lavender, you'll have these.
Go!
And now we enter the only thing that bears life this time of year, the garden. This is probably the best tasting dish we'll find. So we planted some kale about 3 years ago, and we've never really done much with it, but it just keeps dying and like regrowing here. So we have some nice winter Russian kale. So we're gonna pick this, and I'm pretty sure Chef Michael can make an absolutely outstanding dish with this. Parsley, I think it is.
Or parsley, it may be.
Yeah, it's
I'm sure
parsley.
Chef Michael will understand what this is, but I'm gonna pick some of it, and he should be able to work with it. Now, you always have to be careful when identifying these because there are poisonous plants out there, but we know this is good because we grew it. We're gonna pick some of this, and we're gonna see what we can make with it. A sprig here, break it off. And we'll bring a couple of those in, not too much.
Okay, so I'm going to familiarize myself with each of the ingredients that the guys brought to me. Okay, so we have some nice kale here. It looks like a red Russian kale. Just gonna. This kale is particularly crisp and sweet. So it looks like we have needles of what looks like rosemary, but it's actually not. This has a very distinctive smell. I recognize it right away, and that is lavender. Okay, this looks like mint, but again, looks can be deceiving. And I'm gonna do the old sniff check on this. And if you rub it between your thumb and forefinger, it smells like lemon balm. That's what it is, it's lemon balm. So I know what I'm gonna do with that. This here looks like a type of parsley. I wanna make sure it is because, yeah. This looks like a flat leaf Italian parsley. Next up we have some sprigs of, looks like fir tree, Douglas fir needles. So that's gonna have a very, distinctive evergreen scent, yeah. I still haven't figured out what I'm gonna do with this stuff here. Okay, overall I think I can do some things with these ingredients. The first thing though, I'm gonna deal with my difficult ingredients and I'm just gonna make them into a tea. So I'm gonna take my pine needles, my lavender, and my lemon balm all together and we'll make a tea from that. And our kale, there's a couple options here, but I think what I would like to do with this kale, because it's sort of the bigger, older, tougher leaves, is we're gonna make some kale chips. And kale chips are really a nice snack. And we'll actually be seasoning the kale chips with some of the flat leaf parsley as well as some other add-ins. I'm gonna put the lemon balm into a glass jar here, along with bruise the leaves of the lavender. And I don't want the evergreen to overpower, so I'm just gonna put in a simple 1 sprig of that. And we'll pour boiling water over it. So here we have our kale, and one of the things we want to do with our kale when it's this old and tough is you actually need to massage the leaves a bit. So this actually tenderizes it. So I'm just gonna basically knead it, tenderize it, make it a little more palatable and easier to chew. Okay, now that we've massaged the kale, we're gonna chop it up. So I'm actually going to add about a full teaspoon of this salt to our chips. Mix it in. And there's other seasonings you can add if you like. I'm going to go with some garlic powder, a little bit of mustard powder, as well as some cayenne pepper. Okay, we'll take our parsley here and add it into our kale for some extra of flavor.
Okay, so what do we have here?
Well, I have blended the pine needles, which comes from the Douglas fir, and the lavender, and the lemon balm, which comes from the mint family, all to create a herbal tea with a touch of honey.
Okay, first I'm gonna smell it, because I always like to do that with these wild drinks. So I definitely smell the honey there. And I can smell that lemon balm for sure as well. Let's give it a sip. Oh wow, that's good. I really I can actually taste that lavender coming through, surprisingly. I couldn't smell it, but yeah, that comes through right there.
Wow.
And also just the faint taste of that lemon balm. It's there, but it's not overpowering, which is what I was worried about.
Can I give my feedback now?
So what do you think of it, Jake?
I think he did a pretty good job on it.
Overall, I'd say definitely a win, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other teas you can make. Okay, so what do we have here? They look sort of charred.
I think they're kale chips. I've had them a few times.
Let's ask Chef Michael about these. I'm a bit apprehensive looking at them, but we'll see.
Guys, we have some kale chips here, very West Coast. Now, kale chips, of course, they don't look super appetizing. Almost looks like seaweed, like nori or something like that. But when the kale gets heated up, it crisps up and turns brown. So
overall, even though these are a little bit bitter, just tasting them, you can really taste that they are wild. It's earthy. And I'd give it an overall win. What about you?
I'd call it a tie.
I want to thank you for joining us today on this episode of The Wild Harvest, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Just remember, your backyard is your adventure.